Scott, the question was about Mark Carney, this announcement today on softwood lumber and steel. What are the details on this?
Well, $500 million in loan guarantees. So if you are an industry that's been hard hit, then, you can basically get a backstop loan. There's going to be, so that allows you to, float some cash and stay whole for a bit. It allows you to explore other opportunities, other markets, other clients. There's also some effort. Basically, the federal government's going to underwrite some of your shipping costs. So they're working with CN Rail. Transport costs, obviously, a big part of it, all of it. I think the more interesting part, to be honest with you, and obviously we'll see all sorts of additional support programs for people that are hard hit by these industries, and even more if Trump goes after CUSMA, goes after North American free trade, because it'll affect more industries. But I think the thing that's gotten overlooked today is we've also said we're going to actually increase our own protectionist measures, try to limit imports of steel, and that's to create more market for our own domestic steel. Makes a lot of sense. But it also tells you that this is it. Now we're in it, man. Now it's the 1930s. Congratulations, Donald Trump. You wanted a world where, we'd start putting up protectionist measures so the United States wouldn't sell to others and others couldn't sell into them. So now what do countries like Canada do? We got no choice. We're going to start putting up protectionist barriers. We're going to start adding tariffs. We're going to start doing the same thing. And then before you know it, every damn thing you want to buy is going to be more expensive. All the benefits of free trade are going to be lost. And, we know how this movie unfolds. We've seen it before, decades ago. When you start putting up these protectionist measures, when we all start acting like separate economies, everything gets more expensive, jobs get lost, industry shut down. That's where we're going, man. This is not a pretty picture.
You're kind of reminding me of what Jean Charest said when he said not that long ago, maybe in 10 years from now, we'll be thanking Donald Trump for what he did by forcing us to do this.
Well, I like Jean, but I'm not sure I agree with that because the implication is that, well, you know what, this is going to force us to look to other markets. It's going to force us to strike other kinds of deals, sort of, except the United States is the anchor of the global trading system. It's the largest economy. It was the largest advocate for free trade that existed for 20, 30 years. And there was a huge number of challenges about distribution of wealth and income that came with all of that. But my God, we've seen how history unfolds. When you have a worldwide protectionist global trading system, people make less money, there are fewer jobs, and less wealth. Like, that is just a fact. And that screws the little guy as much as it screws the rich guy.
Okay.
So it may make us stronger, but it ain't going to make us better. That's for sure.
All right. I don't want to ignore, because we've been talking about this on my show this afternoon. It's gotten what started off, I guess I could say, as a minor, I don't call it a scandal, but a minor issue with the Provincial Liberal Party has just grown bigger and bigger every day, to the point where UPAC, the anti-corruption unit here in Quebec, has now decided to investigate. And this has to do with Pablo Rodriguez, the new leader of the Quebec Provincial Party, the Liberal, and Marwa Risky, who was suspended by him. Have you been following this at all?
Oh, geez, yeah.
Okay.
I sure have been. And look, I mean, like, I have my own theory on what's going on, but, the political implication is crystal clear. This is a 1 day, 2 day, 5 day, 7 day. This is a long running story now. It's a story that produces new news on a daily basis. And now you've got the cops investigating. What are the cops really investigating? I wish they would come forward and be crystal clear, because to me, it's like, well, there's a bunch of smoke, so we decided we'd go have a look around. Or do they think that there's some legitimate criminality here? I still think it looks like a political scandal, and frankly, I think it looks like an intramural skirmish. I think that, I think Risky and Rodriguez have a falling out. She goes, kind of haywire, and it gets real ugly, and then she starts dishing stuff. And I think that's frankly what's going on here, and I don't know anybody who doesn't think that's what's going on. Now, how much stuff is there to be dished? What is the essence of this? What's all this weird stuff with El Khoury? Like, I mean, what is the story there? Like, he says he didn't have any role, but then it's like, it doesn't matter. He was legit. So it is a messy thing. And here's the fundamental rule. Pablo doesn't seem to be able to put his arms around it. And I've been in those situations. I've been managing those stories when you're in politics. And every day there's a new development, and you just get up and you go, you say the worst possible words you can imagine. And it feels to me like they're in that swirl. Now, can they pull out of it? Presumably, maybe. But right now they're in it. And that's an ugly spot to be.
Well, okay, so your theory is this is just a rift between Marois and Pablo Rodriguez. That's the theory?
My working thesis is what's at the heart of this is the dispute between them.
Okay.
Is that she decided, I'm going to fire Geneviève, and then all hell breaks loose. And so people start lifting all the rugs, doing all their laundry in the living room, and that creates a lot of dirt and a lot of mess. I can't say with any certainty, like, how would I know whether there's truly bad stuff there or whether it's all just like, we're just going to dish. But it seems to me that at the heart of this, what started this, at least, for sure what started it, is a breakdown of intramural relations.
Okay. I will tell you, because I asked the question today, I think you may have said this in the past, the idea in crisis management, right, is to get something within the first 24 to 48 hours under control, because if not, it turns into this mess that they're now dealing with. And I will tell you, Pablo Rodriguez has called 3 press conferences in 3 days, and we are no closer to finding out what's going on than we were at the beginning of this thing. And the question I asked today is, for the good of the party, right, is it maybe in its best interest to have Pablo simply step away now as leader and let this investigation continue?
Well, there's no way in hell he's going to do that. There isn't enough here substantively for him to say, I'm going to actually end my political career. And to be honest with you, if I was advising him, I would not advise him to do that. I agree with you that every effort to manage this, to ring fence this, has failed. And you're right. I mean, what I always say, it's a rule of 3. Okay, day 1, something breaks, you can't help it. That's going to be big news. Day 2, everybody in the world responds to it. You almost can't do much about that. Day 3 is your day. Day 3 is a day where you can take the temperature out of this thing and bring it to a halt. And they haven't been able to find their day 3. They just haven't. And maybe that's because they don't know what's coming at them next. Maybe that's because they've got bad stuff and, they're just scrambling to stay on top of it. I don't know. But what I know for sure is he's not going to quit at this stage. He's still going to try to wrestle it. He's got to do a lot better job of wrestling. He's got to get someone's got to get a grip on an ankle here and pull hard.
Yeah. When I say quit, I don't mean quit as in walk away. I mean quit for now. Let this thing go on so he doesn't have to play interference anymore.
You can't do that.
Okay.
You can't do that. This is about him. This is about leadership. This is about his leadership, literally his large L, small L leadership. And he can't say, listen, you know what, I'm going to take a powder until this thing settles down. He would never get back to the job. He would never. If you vacate the chair in a circumstance like this, you can assume you'll never return.
And what if they find, UPAC finds absolutely nothing was wrong here? Doesn't he come back as the victor at that point and said, I told you this from the get-go?
Well, that's the same story as if he remains in place and then he's able to fight his way through it. But I think if you say I'm in politics, if you say I'm going to create a leadership vacuum by vacating this, I think it's the best thing to do. You can bet your bottom dollar you're never going to get back in the job, and it'll be a detail when they say, 3 months later, 3 months now, like 6 months before an election. Okay, well, turns out it wasn't. First of all, you know what it's like. 40% of people are going to say, I don't believe that anyway. But when you're the leader, you got to lead, and you can't lead by stepping aside. You can't lead by by being behind the parade. You got to jump in front. And that's not always easy, and it sure doesn't look easy right now for Pablo.
You keep calling a press conference every day, Scott, or do you hide under a rock until there's some reason to call a press conference?
I would lean more toward hiding the rock. I mean, my rule of thumb in a situation like this is when you have something to say it. And if you don't have something to say, don't demonstrate to people you have nothing to say. Because it erodes your strength. It erodes your leadership position. You look like you're flailing. Don't flail.
Fair enough. We'll leave it at that. Scott, appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
I'm Luke Wilson. Join me each week for Film Never Lies. We're going in depth on football and a lot more. We'll pull back the curtain on life in the pros and dive deeper into the stories making the headlines. No hot takes, no lazy narratives, just real honest conversations. You can watch or listen to Film Never Lies on all the TSN platforms and iHeartRadio app.